Another great story from the antique sleuth. So here's an interesting doorknob. And it says on this little plaque, RMS Queen Mary. Wow, Queen Mary, was that? That's a famous ocean liner, right? From the 30s, 40s, all the way into the 60s. And you know, that looks like that could have come off of a steamship or, a ship, the door to a ship. That rosette is fixed on there, and that just has the look of a steamship doorknob. Now, the Queen Mary was famous, right? But I'm looking at this. Originally, this block was longer. Now, I don't know if there was something else on this part. It didn't look like it. But anyway, I just trimmed it up because, what the hell, I didn't need all this extra wood out there. But I left that plaque where it was. Originally, it was centered. That's why it's off center here. But I'm also looking at it. I'm thinking, hey, that's kind of a cheesy looking plaque. But hey, somebody had it made, I guess, later. But then I'm thinking RMS Queen Mary. I always thought it was HMS, so I'm thinking, hey, maybe the guy that did this didn't know what, they had the lettering wrong. But then I looked it up. And guess what? RMS is correct. Stands for Royal Mail Ship. Royal Mail Ship Queen Mary. Okay? I think the naval vessels are HMS, his or her Majesty's ship, whatever the name is, HMS. But apparently the ocean liners are RMS, Royal Mail Ship. So that's right for that. And this thing, the Queen Mary during World War II was refitted as a troop ship. Unbelievable. Shipped almost 1 million troops, or maybe, a million troops, give or take, across the Atlantic. It was completely refitted for troops, and then it came back and was refitted again for passengers. But another kind of an interesting story was that when the Queen Mary was built to compete with the French line back in the 30s, who came up with this ship. It was called the Normandy, and it was like it was supposed to have been the most elaborately fitted out passenger ship of all time, and it went back and forth between Europe and New York. And but here's the story. The thing was, it was also supposed to be turned into a troop ship, and it was sitting at the dock in New York City. And about that time, the U.S. government and the military was planning the invasion. They'd gone into North Africa, and they chased the Germans out of North Africa. So the next thing, they were going to invade Italy. So they needed help, all the help they could generate. So guess who they turned to? Well, they turned to the Mafia. And who was the key guy? It was Lucky Luciano. And so they were cutting a deal with him that if he would help with his connections, he was in jail at the time, I believe. And but he would help with his connections over in Sicily, which he had good connections. Yes, he did. They'd let him out of prison and I guess deport him or something. But along the way, the Normandy is docked in New York City, being refitted. And just as an indication of what this guy might be able to do for you or not for you, guess what? The damn thing, it caught on fire and it capsized right there in right at the docks there in New York City. It was like a total loss. And old Lucky Luciano was just sitting there saying, okay, well, let's see what we might be able to do. I think I could help you out. So anyway, that's part of the story. But I'm thinking this could well be off the Queen Mary. That's what we're doing. Do you believe it or don't you believe it? I'm thinking these machine screws could actually be the original screws, because it might have screwed to something, it might have been attached to the door. I could see it with all the vibrations on a ship like that, where it would have needed something more stronger than just old wood screws, okay? So to me, that looks right, and that's what I did. Because they don't screw and they just kind of drop in, so I feel those holes, and I'm going to reposition it in there. But hey, they took a million GIs, not to mention they're paying customers back and forth. I mean, somebody could easily have said, hey, guess what, Martha? I think I got a souvenir of our wonderful trip, or some guy with nothing else to do on the way over or back thinking, what the hell? Hey, a doorknob, that'd be a cool souvenir. So I can see somebody just, removing that little baby right off the ship's door, probably just before they docked, I would think, because later on it would be pretty obvious whose room it was. So anyway, do you think that's the real thing? I tend to think it is. Let us know.